Alright, so I kind of procrastinated a good portion of the day. It's currently 2 o'clock at night, or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went and got the plywood to actually build the lower cabinet and a couple other benches inside the shop, which will help me keep all my other workbenches clear. So with all my procrastination, kind of took a nap earlier. It was hot. Now I'm looking at trying to progress this workbench so I can actually do the cabinet underneath. And one thing that I want to add is a Deadman. Probably going to make it wider than this. Probably like a 2x6, maybe a 2x8 in width. That will slide back and forward underneath the apron, which will just give me more clamping options. I do plan to build a cabinet underneath, but they're going to be divided into 2 banker drawers. So if I ever need to get access to a drawer, I can just slide the Deadman over. And I also want to keep the banker cabinet slightly below the apron to give me room to throw stuff on top of it. Hand saws, maybe a track for a track saw. Just various accessories can go down underneath, plus the tool tray here. This section here works really good for my trash can. So yeah, just trying to make it more functional. And before I can build the cabinet underneath, I kind of need to route this groove for the Deadman. Some people take a piece of 2x material and rip it with opposing 45s on it and add a track to the bottom and then do a tenon up top, which if I had thought ahead, I would have done the tenon up top and then cut that rabbet before I installed that 2x4. But now I have to do it in place, and I do not have a standard router base with a throat plate wide enough to receive my rabbeting bit. I don't have a smaller rabbeting bit for like a 1/4 inch shank for my trim router, so I am currently using my router table base, which is quite large. But since my Deadman is going to be, I think I already routed it past on the top, and where the edge of it stops is about 4 inches away. So if I can get pretty close to this leg. You know, the Deadman doesn't have to come all the way to the leg, realistically, because it's just for, let's say I have a piece of plywood and it doesn't quite stretch all the way down to this leg, but I want to catch it in the vise, bench dogs here and here with the clamp, and a clamp, and a clamp on this end. So I can kind of slide it to wherever I need it to be. I could also clamp things vertically going up along the bench and not use the vise. It just gives me more options to have it float back and forth, but coming all the way to the leg isn't the biggest issue. So I'm going to try to do it all with the router. Is the game plan. So let's start this process, and I might get a few passes in and see if I can get the camera underneath the bench so you guys can actually see the routing process. So I've already done the pass on the top, and for the bottom the router needs to be going this way. Alright, and that rabbet is about a 1/2 inch deep. So I do my rabbet on my 2x4. It's going to be a 1/2 inch tenon, essentially. I'm probably going to go down at least an inch, maybe 2, because it's not like the Deadman's going to get a lot of weight, but I do want to be able to tap on it with a hold fast. And how I'm going to hold it into place is I'm just going to take another 2x4 along the back side of here and add another piece of blocking here. So when I slide my rabbet in, or slide my 2x4 or my Deadman into this rabbet, it'll be held in place by this backwards 2x4, just some screws. So if I ever need to remove it, I can just back out those screws. Probably the screws up here because I can get access to them. It's going to be a cabinet down beneath. So yeah. That way I can remove it if I ever need to repair it or whatever the case. And the reason why I also did not do the track down at the bottom, if I did that, that would raise up the overall height, so I'll be working with dead space underneath the drawers. And I'm going to have a slight margin to make sure the drawers actually slide in and out, but not quite the height of this. You know, it's really losing microscopic amount of space. And also I didn't fully plan for the Deadman beforehand. But this is going to be the method that we use. Again, we're losing like 4 inches to the edge, so if my Deadman's like a 2x6, I think with the tenon being centered, I can get it fairly close to the leg and there won't be any issues. So what I need to do now though is take deeper and deeper passes until I get to, I don't know, at least an inch, just so I know that my rabbet's gonna hold up. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can get the camera down there so you guys can actually see what's actually happening. But yeah, we're making progress. We're just gonna make this deeper and deeper and then cut our tendons on our 2x4s. Alright, that is what we want. So now the next thing I need to do is cut the actual rabbet on my actual Deadman, which is going to fit into this groove here and that groove here. And then I can slide through here, and then my actual cabinet will rest from here back to that back stretcher. Then if I ever need to remove it, I undo the screws on the board up here and slide my Deadman out and continue on with my life. Alright. Alright. Oh, let me get down here where you guys can see me. I am currently chiseling out this line. I've already laid it out. Now I just need to come back, remove that excess material so I can have at least a 3/4 inch tongue. Right now I have like a 1/2 inch gap, and realistically to make sure it slides, I'm end up going like 7/16, maybe 3/8. So I'd much rather have a 3/4 inch gap where I can go at least 5/8. 11/16, and I'll give this a little bit more rigidity as I pound dog holes and stuff. I mean, bench dogs and stuff through it. So I'm just gonna make this a little bit deeper. Watch more Squid Game in the background.
This is Boat 2. Everyone's taking care.
Alright, so we have our Deadman completely constructed, and we have paste waxed our joint right there. So we're just going to slide that into place. Take our board with our screws. Flip that upside down. You're going to take one clamp. Hold on, please. Alright, so what it looks like is that I just need to take a little bit off the back side. So I'll show you guys one of the benefits to building it this way. Even with my cabinet down here at the bottom like it's going to be, I can back out a couple screws. And remove the Deadman at any time. So I'm going to shave this down just a little bit. Just make this just a little bit deeper. And then we're going to retry it. Alright, so we finally have our sliding Deadman on our bench. It's pretty awesome. And what's going to allow me to do, let's say I want to work on a door panel, or in this case a piece of plywood, I can clamp this into my vise. And again, I have bench dogs on the legs, but as I get out to over here, or if this piece was shorter to where, you know, I couldn't come all the way over to this end of the apron, I can take just 2 bench dogs. These are really exactly the same size. They kind of have a pin off-centered, so they're not really set to be the same pivot. But let's just say I threw 2 bench dogs in these holes. Rested the board on the bench dogs, slid it into the vise, clamped it, and then I can take another one of these. I still got to clean out and ream out all these holes, so this is still a little snug getting in. That's something I got to do with all the holes on the bench. Probably take a piece of sandpaper and kind of come in and clean them all out. You can see how much sawdust I'm getting. So I can kind of take this piece itself and kind of just ream out each one of the holes, but that's a whole nother thing. Or if this piece was a little bit shorter, it could be one of these clamps right here at the end to keep the sock from moving at all. But it's able to rest here. If this was cleaned out, I can throw one of these in there, etc. It just gives me the clamping options all along the face of the bench. And then when I build my underside cabinets, all I have to do is slide this left and the right to still access all my cabinets underneath. So that's going to be the next part of this build, is building the actual underneath cabinets, so I can gain a little bit more storage inside the shop. And then we have a couple more benches to build after that. So if you guys have enjoyed, let me know down in the comments. Leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.